Good afternoon. This is U.S. Home Talk. We are your go-to real estate podcast, whether you're buying, selling, investing, or simply wanting to learn more about real estate. We got your back. We are your host, Marcus Walgrave with the South Dakota Home Team, powered by Hague Realtors, Jason Walgrave with the Walgrave Real Estate Group at RE/MAX Advantage Plus, and possibly Mike Overson with Luminate Bank. He's, we're all very busy on a day like this. As always, in studio with us, our producer and insurance guru, Evan Little. Anything and everything real estate, guys. Today, you guys can give us a call on our hotline, 612-234-7585, with your real estate questions. That is open 24/7. And so if you guys want to call, text, leave us messages, let us know of maybe some future topics that you want us to cover. It's going to be a great way to get a hold of us. Or you can visit us online at ushometalk.com. Today's going to be a great show. We have a guest in our studio. And joining us today is Brian Chabonneau. He is the owner of National Property Inspections in the Sioux Empire. Brian, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. Hey, the weather's good, so an inspector's life is good.
It makes a difference, doesn't it?
It does.
Now, myself, we service the real estate needs of buyers, sellers, investors in the Sioux Empire area. If you're not familiar with the Sioux Empire, it is Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and the surrounding area. Sioux Falls is the biggest city in the state of South Dakota, and we're located on the east side of the state, right next to the Minnesota border and right next to the Iowa border. So the Great Plains is kind of our area. Jason, my oldest brother, is a real estate broker up in the Twin Cities area, and you guys service the Twin Cities and beyond. Brian, with your inspection company over at National Property Inspections, you guys service the Sioux Empire as well, so you're covering multiple states.
We are, and we also travel. So we'll travel to Rapid City, South Dakota, which is on the west side of the state, about 4.5-5 hours away. We'll travel wherever somebody's going to pay us.
South Dakota, it doesn't take too long to get from the southern border to the northern border, but we're a wide state. It takes a minute to get to the west side. Rapid City is our other big city in our state of South Dakota, and it is on the far side of the state, on the west side. When you said 4.5, you're definitely taking full advantage of that 80 miles per hour on the interstate. Maybe a little over, possibly.
Yeah.
we do jump into mountain time as well, so maybe you're accounting for that.
There we go. Yes.
Not speeding, just change of time. So, property inspections. What a great topic it's been, and really it's been a hot topic since the early 2020s, in my opinion. There was prior to 2020, it was pretty common, traditional for an offer to be submitted on a residential home, and that offer be contingent upon a property inspection. 2020s kind of came around, and maybe in 2020 you could still get away with it for the first 6 to 9 months, and then there was a period where it was tough because there were such competing offers, but that's we talk about buyers markets, sellers markets. We talked about that on a previous show. We're definitely in a more balanced market here in the Sioux Empire. Jason, I think you guys have seen up in the Twin Cities as well, maybe favoring sellers in a majority of the properties, but all in all, a healthier, more balanced market.
It's interesting, Marcus. I'd say in the last couple weeks we have moved into a seller's market, and so there's no question. Multiple offers are in full swing, from $385,000 properties up to $700,000 plus properties, multiple offers. And so it's heavy, hot spring market. It is definitely more of a seller's market than a buyer's market because of the competition. And then inspections are, they are certainly a hot topic when you're making offers and preparing to make offers. And if you're in multiple offers, what do you do? Always something to discuss when we're making offers.
Now, Brian, as I said, you're National Property Inspections, you guys are one of the top inspection companies here throughout the nation, and you know, you do an incredible amount of business and an exceptional service provider here in the Sioux Empire, and obviously the other national property inspections throughout the U.S. And every time I run into you, I think this speaks more volume to the quality of the service and that you provide your customers. You're always busy, right? There really isn't a time where I've bumped into you and be like, it's pretty slow. It's like, no, I mean, if I run into Brian in the Sioux Falls area, NPI has a lot of business. There's a lot of activity going on. When we saw these early 2020s where the multiple offers were coming in, and maybe buyers were opting not to have their offer contingent upon it. It was something that when you speak to a knowledgeable realtor and they're going to tell their clients, hey, maybe we don't do this to get you in and to get your offer to win, but as soon as you close on that property, you want to give somebody like Brian a call, get National Property Inspections over there and to inspect it. Just because it's not attached to the offer doesn't mean that that's something that you shouldn't be doing anyways. So have you seen any of that, Brian, here picking up where, buyers are saying, hey, I've been lost out on a couple multiple offer situations. We might have to wait until after we close to get you in. Have you seen any of that?
We're not running into too much of that now. You are correct. In the early 2000s, 220s, it was like that. And we do run into people, however, that have a little bit of remorse for not getting that inspection during that buying process. Even now, yes, we do have times when people will call, hey, we weren't able to get an inspection a year ago due to the demand and all the offers. We sure wish we would have. Can you come in and do it now? Not as much as 2020, 2021, but occasionally we're running into that now.
And when we kind of look at that too, something that I saw in the early 2020s, the idea of a seller being able to take advantage of some people call them pre-listing inspections, or just simply seller inspections. And what they're using that for is a marketing piece. And again, I mean, there was a time, an 18-24 month period where, I mean, there was just so much activity going on that sellers didn't really feel like there was any need to add it towards their marketing package when they were listing their home for sale. Buyers felt like they couldn't add it because of competing offers. But I've seen, and I've been recommending this as well to sellers, because we did see, at the end of 2025, inventory starting to pick up. We did see that now one listing in a neighborhood maybe had 5 or 6 listing in the neighborhood. And that's kind of having that conversation with sellers saying, hey, you may want to have National Property Inspections, Brian Chapman will come over and inspect your house. Seller, this is a seller, realtor to seller conversation. You may want to have them inspect your house now, because we know that the demand's still high. So buyers are still excited about trying to get their hands on a home and are willing to pay, what is considered to be, the top dollar through appreciation in today's market. However, if we're trying to beat out your neighbor or 2-3 of your neighbors, getting that house pre-inspected before it goes to the market can be a great marketing piece for a seller.
So I agree with that, Marcus. And this is an opinion that has changed for me over the years, and probably, I would say pre-2020. If you would ask me, if a seller would ask me, do you think we should do a pre-listing inspection, a home inspection? My answer was no. I don't think it's a great idea. But my opinion on that has changed. I agree with you, Marcus. I think that it's a great idea for sellers in most cases to do that inspection. Also gives sellers an opportunity to, make some repairs and fix some things that they may want to. Now you're going to the market with the inspection attached, and it's, it gives buyers the opportunity to make their best offer, knowing that there's an inspection report on the house. It makes them comfortable if it's multiple offers to not have an inspection contingency, because they're looking at that inspection, one that was just done in the last few weeks. And so I think it's a great idea. I think it can make the whole process go smoother. Now you don't have an inspection contingency, days attached to that, a timeline, and I think it's, in most cases it can be really good. So I agree. I think it's something that sellers should look at, especially if we think there's going to be multiple offers when we list it and put it on the market.
Brian, have you seen a growing demand for sellers to get their properties inspected prior to hitting the market?
I won't say we have a growing demand for pre-listing inspections. We do work with several realtors. They always have their listings pre-inspected.
Really?
They do, always, and they want to know up front, what do we need to do?
Yeah.
And so they usually do it about 2 or 3 weeks before it's going up on market. And they start attacking it. They get it done. They get those things done. A lot of them will print out that report for an open house. They'll attach a receipt or verification that that repair has been completed. And now when you have an open house, the buyers can come in and see, oh, hey, they need to repaint. It's been done. Here's a receipt showing that it's been done.
Mm-hmm.
That gives the buyer a lot more confidence to move forward with that purchase. That's what we see.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we see and hear with our discussions with the realtors that do utilize that program.
So here's a new one for you, Brian. And this was, I've been doing this a little while, and this was a first. Last week, had a client reach out to me, a buyer that purchased a new construction home about 11 months ago. And he sent me a message. Hey, Jason, who's your inspector? I want to have a home inspection done before our 1-year warranty with the builder, our walkthrough,
Right.
The punch list. And so he had the full inspection. He sent it to the builder. He's like, great, we'll meet you next week. And, let's address any items that came up on the inspection. I thought, wow, that's really smart. You know what I mean? Cause you're coming in with, with all the ammo that you need as a buyer, one, to make sure that those punch list items, whatever, are covered by the builder. They've been identified. And so I thought that's really smart.
Yeah. And you are describing that perfectly. We come in and develop a punch list. Yep. And now the buyer can work with their contractor, say, hey, can we get this repaired? This isn't quite right.
Yep.
We do quite a few of those. What we do is we suggest, if you're buying a new home, either have us come in and inspect it previous to you moving in,
yep,
or have us come in at 11 months and do that 1-year builder's warranty. Either way, you should have it inspected.
What's interesting about this client, Brian, is that they did it before they bought the house.
Mm-hmm.
So we got it under contract. The house was a spec, so it was completed. They wanted to do an inspection. Of course, builders, they don't care. It's like, if the house is brand new, go ahead, do the inspection. Did the inspection. There were 8 or 9 things that came up on that inspection report that probably wouldn't have been identified otherwise. And there was some water stains on the floor in the utility room. That's kind of what prompted it. They're like, you know what, let's do a home inspection. I want to really know where this is from and why it was caused. But so they did it then, and then 11 months later, they did it again. And so they've utilized a full home inspection twice in 11 months. I think it's a good idea. I mean, they're definitely identifying things that they would not have if they didn't do the inspection. So,
Brian, if
We always
any of
think
our
it's-
listeners, go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, we always believe that pre-listing inspection is good, a 1-year builder's warranty before you purchase. And what we're finding now is, if you've owned your home for 10, 20 years,
mm-hmm,
people are starting to have us come in. Can you just do a full home inspection for us? Because we're at the age that we don't want to get on the roof. We don't want to get in our attic.
yep,
And can you tell us what we need to have done? And so that is growing as our population ages.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, we always kind of joke about it, myself and my team, and when we're doing home tours with buyers, and the topic of property inspection comes up, and they say, hey, okay, well, what are your thoughts on that? And one, it's not required, but highly recommended. One thing I can tell you that I'm not going to do during a home tour is get on top of the roof and check the shingles. I'm not getting in the attic either. I'm not checking any of the plumbing. I'm not doing any of that stuff.
You crawl space? Going in that crawl space, Marcus?
Not looking to bump into any wildlife. But I do know a guy Brian Chapman over at
Yeah.
National Property Inspections, he can kind of take care of you. So, Brian, if somebody who has no idea about property inspections, whether they're buyer, seller, or to your point exactly, somebody who's a current homeowner who has no interest in selling, just simply got to an age where they're like, I'm not really interested in getting up on a ladder. What can they expect on a basic inspection?
Well, that's great. I just taught a 3-hour CE class on Inspections 101 at the
We don't have 3
Realty
hours, though. We
office.
don't.
So what can you expect? You can expect to be educated by a good home inspector. And that is what our goal is, to educate you on what's going on the exterior of your house, again, up on the roof, the condition of your roof, your doors, your windows, your siding, your decks. A lot of people walk on their decks, but they never take the time to go underneath of their deck and look and see what's going on from that view. And on the inside, again, we're going to take a look at your HVAC system. And after a thorough review, you're going to know the age of it, how it's operating. If your temperature splits are good, now you know, should we have some routine maintenance completed? And that's one thing we always recommend on HVAC systems. Hey, they're made to last 10, 15, 20 years. As I always describe it, you have your oil changed in your car. Why not have your furnace reviewed each year by a professional and help extend its life multiple years? So we're just trying to educate the buyer or the homeowner on that situation, what they can do to maybe pay a little bit on routine maintenance, but get away from some huge costs further on down the road.
Today we're talking about property inspections on US Home Talk. And if you guys want to get any more of our information, contact information, you guys can find us online at ushometalk.com. Before we finish today's show, we are going to go ahead and jump into our legal minute of the show. I want to say day, but of the show. Legal
This
minute
is
of
Jeff
the show.
O'Brien, attorney with Hush Blackwell, with the U.S. Home Talk Legal Minute. For property owners who wish to sell a property but are hesitant to do so because of a decline in value or a tight credit market, a contract for deed transaction might be the solution. Contract for deed is a sale of real estate where the seller, in essence, finances the buyer's purchase by allowing the buyer to make payments over a period of time, instead of receiving immediate payment in full. The seller, instead of a lender, receives the interest paid on the loan and retains legal title to the property. If the buyer defaults on the contract, the seller can cancel the contract by giving a 60-day written statutory notice of cancellation. Once canceled, the seller can keep all the payments previously made by the buyer, and the buyer's interest in the property is extinguished. If you have one or more mortgages on the property, you must consult with your lenders to obtain their consent to a contract for deed prior to the sale, so that the sale does not result in a violation of your mortgage. This is Jeff O'Brien, attorney with Hush Blackwell, with the U.S. Home Talk Legal Minute.
Thank you, Jeff O'Brien. Today on U.S. Home Talk, we are talking about property inspections. In studio with us is guest Brian Chabano. He is the owner of National Property Inspections out of the Sioux Empire area. If you guys are in the Sioux Empire area, that's Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and the surrounding area, and you want to learn more about property inspections, it's easy to get a hold of Brian. You can find him online at npi.com/Sioux Empire. So easy to find him. Google him. Brian, you do a lot of great social media as well. We do emphasize a lot of stuff when we talk about property inspections on residential, but it doesn't end at residential. I mean, you guys go, beyond that. You test for radon, you can test for mold, you inspect commercial properties, whether they're businesses or apartments, duplexes. If it's real estate, it's likely that you guys can test something on it.
That is right. We're very fortunate here to have a 3-man team. I've got very good guys working with us. So when we have large projects, we can go and attack them. And for instance, a 200-unit apartment complex, we can get that done, maybe not in one day, but in 2 days, where if it was just a single person, it would take you a week to get something like that done. So I'm very fortunate to have a great team backing us up here. And yeah, after I get done today, I'm going to go do a strip mall inspection.
Nice.
And one of our growing inspection add-ons that we do is indoor air quality. So a lot of people are concerned with the air they breathe inside their home. So we can test for what type of tree pollen is out there, what type of grass pollens are out there, up to 37 different allergens. And that doesn't include the mold inspection that we can also do on top of that. So a lot of people are really moving towards that as they develop allergies. They're getting sick in their homes. So that is just a growing part of our business.
Interesting.
Are you seeing a fair amount of requests for like sewer scopes as well?
Yes, we also do sewer scopes. We probably, between the three of us, we average about 1.5 per day. I actually only have one sewer camera. They're a little pricey, but at this point in time, I've got to break down and buy another sewer camera because, here's what I keep saying: the more we do, the more we do, and realtors are really starting to understand the importance of it and the expense of the fix if we do find a problem. So it's better to know about it up front.
Yep.
I think that's the big takeaway from a property inspection, right? I mean, you can spend a little bit money today to get a good idea of what is going on. Most of the time, they're going to be small little items that just simply need attention and maintenance. But in terms of like a transaction, it might be able to avoid a buyer who is soon to be the homeowner with a very large, big ticket item that could be coming around the bend in the near future.
Right.
We have the radon in our area. I know you guys do as well in Minnesota. Look at the EPA map. I mean, it's like
We're right in the middle of the radon.
Yes, we are.
We're there.
We're right there. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
it radon seems to be one that picks up quite a bit. But I think that sewer scope, Mike, like you asked that question. I mean, there's such a growing demand for individuals who want to be in what they deem as a mature neighborhood, with mature trees.
Right.
And that's kind of the nature of it, right? I mean, when you have the front part of your home has 3-4 silver maples in it, they're big and they're beautiful, but you can only imagine the root system that they have underneath. So if it's an old 50, 60, 70-year-old home and maybe the previous owner had to snake it out a couple times, it's like, well, why? Was it just because the toddler flushed down ducky, or is it these reoccurring roots kind of a situation?
Or 10 duckies.
Yeah, or 10 duckies. The family of ducks went down the tube.
Yeah. Sewer scopes, they keep on growing. It's a great part of our business. Not always the funnest to do those. We see things we don't always want to see. However, when we're doing a sewer scope, we're getting smarter about it, where we fill up the bathtubs and flush the toilets and let the water run for quite a while before we do it, to try and move stuff out of the system so we can get a good view of what's going on without items getting in the way of our scope. So,
Yeah.
How about chimney stacks?
we can.
Yep.
Yeah, we can. In Sioux Falls, especially newer ones, we don't have that many chimneys, but we can utilize our sewer scope and either go from up and go down, or we can push it up because the cable is pretty stiff and we can get a good view of your chimney as well.
Buyers, sellers, investors, residential, commercial. If you guys are looking for an exceptional property inspector here in the Sioux Empire, make sure you reach out to Brian Chabonneau at National Property Inspections. Brian, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks for coming on.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me. Next time I'll have better lighting in here.
It looks good. You look good. So,
Okay.
as our show comes to an end today, we want to thank you all for taking your time, for watching our show, and for your support of US Home Talk. You guys can find all of our past shows on USHometalk.com or wherever you guys find your podcast. This is Marcus Walgrave, Jason Walgrave, Mike Overson. Have yourself a blessed week.